time for yet again another one of the elimination videos for this season, and the Seattle Kraken are the next ones up. And I gotta be honest, it's a little bit of a groggy future for Seattle. It's not very clear. They have a mix of some young players in their roster, including some older veterans and guys they recently just locked up to big contracts. I'm really not sure about how Seattle is going to be moving forward in a sense of, are they going towards contention or are they going towards more of a full rebuild? They seem like they're kind of in that middle stage right now, in my opinion. So they were the fourth team to be eliminated from the playoffs in the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs. They are 31, 38, and 6 at the time recording of this video for 68 points. They are 29th in the NHL with a .453 points percentage. They have scored 224 goals, have allowed 245 for a minus 21 difference. They are 17, 17, and 5 at home and 14, 21, and 1 on the road. A very not really surprising, a very disappointing season from Seattle is a better word to say. Honestly, just I didn't think they were going to be that good anyways. To be honest, there were some people who thought they would get better. I think I was of that, but I didn't think they would be this bad. They are like 7th in the Pacific Division. They are just not doing well whatsoever. It is a not good of a year, and I think a lot of it does fall on the lack of scoring from this team. What's crazy is that overall, this team only has one singular 20-goal scorer. They have a couple of guys who are like close to that, but more or less, like, they are struggling in some scoring, as well as the goaltending wasn't the greatest this season either, and by the goaltending I mean their backup goaltender, who really kind of sold them a lot of this season for sure. Going into the main scores, I really don't have a lot of thoughts on the team as a whole. Again, there were some criticisms of Dan Bylsma, criticisms of Jessica Campbell, because you guys probably know why. Unfortunately, the world is like that sometimes, but and there was also criticism of Ron Francis, too. Francis, I think that I am more critical of Francis than a lot of other people may be. In my opinion, I just think that a lot of the moves that he's made in free agency, in terms of contracts, some of the trades he's made haven't been the greatest. I do think, like, we'll go through this and I'll get more thoughts at the end of the video with Francis, and just as of right now, I'm not a big fan of what he has done. So first off, their leading scorer is Jared McCann, 75 games played, 18 goals, 34 assists for 52 points. I think McCann, there hasn't been a lot of positives this season for the Kraken. I think McCann's definitely been one of them. He's become a very underrated player on both ends of the rink over this whole season. So there's a few people you can blame for Seattle's struggles this year. I don't think Jared McCann is one of them. I think he's been a very effective fit in Seattle for a very long time. There have been rumors of a possible trade. I am not ruling that out whatsoever. I think that very well could happen. It's just a matter of I don't know. I'm not obligated to really speak about that because I'm not 100% sure on what Seattle wants to do moving forward. But if they get a right offer for McCann, I think they should pull the trigger on it. Chandler Stevenson, second in scoring, 71 games played, 11 goals, 37 assists for 48 points. I forgot to mention McCann leads in points. Stevenson leads in assists. So honestly, I don't think Stevenson has been as bad as people say he is. Like, his advanced analytics are pretty bad. He's not good defensively. He just isn't that great. I don't think he's been bad in a sense that, like, I do think his production's gone down a little bit. I think he's a little bit overpaid, but he hasn't been terrible. The problem is, though, and this is where Ron Francis really comes in for me, you go out, you acquire a guy who is a passing machine when you need goal scoring. You need a guy who can score. You need a guy who can put the puck in the net for you. Just one player above 20 goals a season is not going to do it. So you need more than that. And a guy like Stevenson, I mean, he's a good passer, but just hasn't, I mean, they just don't have that scoring guy. So that was my first thing there with Francis. Jaden Schwartz, third in scoring, 75 games played, 23 goals, 23 assists, 46 points. Those 23 goals is first on the team. I think Schwartz hasn't been bad. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if we see a possible trade down the road with him. I mean, again, like Seattle has this mix of old players with a couple of young guys thrown in. I think if they were smart, they would try and move away from those older players, like a guy like Jaden Schwartz, etc. I mean, like, I don't know. That's just kind of how I look at it. If you want to get younger, I think you got to move on from the older players. They might not even have a choice, though, considering the fact that some of these guys are on big contracts that Francis himself signed. So I really don't know. But I don't think Schwartz has been a bad fit. I think he's been a good player in Seattle. He's been good since he's came there. Just, I guess you would like a little bit more out of him. Here's one that I'm a little bit concerned about. Matty Beniers, 75 games played, 18 goals, 23 assists, 41 points. Now, I'm honestly not as concerned as some other people are because his defensive numbers underlying are actually not terrible, and I think that that's kind of what he's been a little bit more focused on as opposed to actually scoring points. But he's a second overall pick. He's not scoring at a second overall pick level. He hasn't been able to get back to that colder season that he had in 22-23 where he was really effective and really solid. Again, I do think that the offense may not be like as great as it was projected to be because he has more of a defensive type of forward, but still, you want scoring to be there more. He had a better year than he did last year, but even then, I'm like not too optimistic about a guy like Beniers. Honestly, moving forward, I said a lot in the offseason and in Seattle videos that I really did believe they were going to get better, and I believe Beniers was going to be one of the big parts of that he was going to make the Kraken better and he was going to get better. And, fourth in scoring is a little bit surprising to me, to be honest with you. Capo Caco was actually fifth in scoring. Now, I do want to say not all of these points are with the Kraken. Some of these were with the Rangers. I do think, though, a lot of these points were with the Kraken. 72 games played, 14 goals, 27 assists, 41 points. I think Capo Caco has been a really good ad. And that's one of the trades for me. Like I'm going to criticize Ron Francis a few times in this video. That is one of the deals that I think may have saved his job. It's one of the few good moves he's made as the Kraken GM. I think Caco's been a very effective fit there. Just seeing how he can play with more ice time, it just shows how much the Rangers really screwed up on that. And honestly, in my opinion, I think that overall, for a guy like Capo Caco, to be playing at this level after really struggling in previous years, it's huge. And it shows that the development is going to get better and better as his career moved forward. I think if he spends the full next year with Seattle, there's a good chance he could hit like 50, maybe even 60 points. And then you're talking about the narrative of New York was the problem. We'll see. Again, like that's me speculating. We'll have to see how that take ages in 365 days from now. But I think right now, I think Kakko has been a very good fit in Seattle. Shane Wright is sixth in scoring, 72 games played, 17 goals, 23 assists, 40 points. I think Shane Wright has also been a very good fit. There were criticisms of him being possibly a bust. I think he's been taking a little bit longer, obviously, to develop than, in regular instances as he was projected to be when he was drafted. But he's still been very good. I think that this year really showed that he can be an NHLer. And I think that if this is the rookie in quotations, because he has played games in previous years, if this is the quote-unquote rookie year we're going to get out of Shane Wright, I'm excited for what's to come, to be honest. Because in terms, like, if you put him amongst the leading Calder scorers right now, I think he would be fourth on that list. So he's having a pretty good season by all remarks. And I think that overall that is good to see there from somebody who got a lot of criticism the last two seasons when he didn't come to the NHL and pan out right away. Brandon Montour, 74 games played, 16 goals, 23 assists, 39 points. I think Montour's been a better fit than Stevenson. I do think Stevenson has been good, but I still think Montour's been a better option there on that back end. But the production just isn't there from where it was in Florida, and I think we should have expected that, to be honest with you. I do think he is a little bit more overpaid than I would give him right now, but the cap's going up. I'm not complaining. I think that Montour's been a solid fit this year, has scored some pretty nice goals. Again, scored the fastest overtime goal in NHL history, which is kind of weird to think. Like, that's a fun trivia question down the road. And then Vince Dunn, the eighth in scoring, 55 games played, 11 goals, 24 assists, 35 points. He has played substantially lesser games than everybody else, and I think that played a big role in why Seattle really kind of struggled this year, because Dunn was really the glue to that Kraken blue line, and not having him there, I think really kind of made it not great for a little bit of time there. And that's why I think, like, the goaltending was at fault. Like, Grubauer was a big problem at points this year. I do think he has been bad, but there have been some points this year where the Kraken defense didn't give him a lot in front of him. And the same can be said for Decord as well when he was playing in front there. Deckard, that being said, 24, 20, and 5, 2.72 and a .908 save percentage. I think Decord's been still really good. He's still a great goaltender. The fact that he has almost a .910 in the league today where the scoring is up and, the Kraken defense is not that great, I think that shows that they're in a pretty damn good spot with a guy like him. That was one of the things that Francis also really didn't screw up, to be honest with you. I think that Decord, with that contract and with Seattle, has been a very good addition, picking him up in the expansion draft. That was a gem, by the way, that they picked up there from Ottawa. He's been terrific since becoming the full-time guy. And then Philip Grubauer, 7-17-1 for a 3.52 goals against and a .875 save percentage. I think there's a good chance, a decent chance. I'm not going to say for sure that it happens, but I think there's a good chance that we're going to see Philip Grubauer be bought out in the offseason. I think that it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think, seeing how he's been this year. And again, I don't want to put everything on him. I don't want to rain down on Grubauer. He kind of does deserve it in a way, but the Kraken blue line in front of him for some points this year hasn't been necessarily good, but I will agree that Grubauer has not been great this season. He has been awful. His advanced analytics are terrible. Just everything about him has been bad this year. No matter how bad the blue line is in front of him, he's not been good. And that's just the outright truth. And it shows over the progression of the last couple of seasons since coming to Seattle. And maybe that's because Seattle hasn't been that great, but even at the same time, just the advanced analytics and the underlying numbers, they speak for themselves. So overall, again, I've been very negative on Seattle. I really don't know where they go from here. I think that they could draft somebody in this year's draft and draft two people the next year in the first round and be in a decent spot. But right now, I'm not very high on them. Unless if we see something big in free agency that sways me the other way. But just right now, I'm not terribly into Seattle as a team overall. I think that they are a little bit too old, in my opinion. I think they have some big contracts they can't get rid of. But then again, on the contrary, you can say, oh, what if they had a full season of events done? What if, Philip Grubauer wasn't so bad in the 21 games he played or whatever, in the 25 games he played? What if we had Captain Jordan Eberle the entire year? And there's arguments, too, to Francis keeping his job because he made the trade with Bjorkstrand and Gord and got 2 first-round picks back in return for that, along with a second as well. And there's the argument, too, of trading for Capo Caco midway through the season. There's the argument of, signing Joey Dacker to that big deal, but there's also the argument of Stevenson and Montour and the Grubauer signing and the Burakovsky and just a lot of them not working out. Just Seattle is in a very polarizing spot right now in both ends of the spectrum, and I really just don't know how to kind of gauge them. I think the best way to describe their future is a little bit foggy, in my opinion. I mean, they have a good young core, but I don't know. It's going to be a while before they finally get back to the playoffs. And I think that as we get further and further away from that year, it seems more and more like it was a fluke. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. I went a little bit of a tangent there on Seattle, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on this team. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like the video down below, and please do consider subscribing to join the community that we are building here on this channel. Anyways, that is it for me. Watch with Nordic tonight, and I will see you guys in the next video.